Welcome to the Nightmare Vault.
In 2018, I took a job at Blackridge Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison located deep in rural Texas. The prison had a reputation, not because of riots, not because of escapes, but because of Cellblock D. Officially, Cellblock D had been closed since 1994 after a violent incident involving multiple inmates and 3 correctional officers. The records were vague. Most documents simply described the event as a security failure. Nobody liked talking about it. When I first arrived, the older guards gave me strange looks whenever I asked questions. One of them, a man named Harris, pulled me aside during my first week. "Stay away from D Block after dark." I laughed. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. Blackridge was old. Parts of it dated back to the 1950s. Long concrete hallways connected various sections of the prison. Cameras covered almost every corner. Almost. Cellblock D sat at the end of a forgotten corridor beneath the prison. The entrance was locked behind a steel gate. Officially, nobody went down there. At least that's what I was told. A month into the job, strange things started happening. Every night around 2:13 a.m., a motion sensor near the entrance to D Block would activate. The camera never showed anyone. The sensor simply triggered for a few seconds before going silent again. Maintenance checked it. Nothing was wrong. They replaced the sensor. The same thing happened the next night, and the night after that. Eventually, everyone stopped talking about it. Everyone, except me. One night, I was assigned to monitor cameras in the control room. The shift was quiet. Most inmates were asleep. Around 2:10 a.m., I noticed movement on camera 47, the hallway leading to D Block. At first, I thought it was a shadow. Then I saw it clearly. A man, standing perfectly still. He wore an orange prison uniform. His head was lowered. I zoomed in. The image became grainy. The figure remained motionless. I checked inmate records. Nobody was supposed to be there. I radioed another guard. By the time he arrived, the hallway was empty. The camera showed nothing. The guard laughed and blamed exhaustion. But I knew what I had seen. The following night, I watched the same camera. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the figure appeared again, standing in the same place, head lowered, motionless. This time I grabbed my phone and recorded the screen. Then the figure slowly raised its head. My stomach dropped. The man's face looked wrong. His skin appeared pale. His eyes were completely black. Then the screen filled with static. Every monitor in the control room flickered. The lights briefly went out. When power returned, the figure was gone. The next morning, I showed the recording to Harris. His face turned white. He immediately deleted the video. I couldn't believe it. "What are you doing?" He looked around to make sure nobody was listening. Then he whispered, "Some things are better left alone." That answer only made me more curious. Over the next few weeks, I began researching prison archives. Most records from the 1994 incident were missing. But eventually, I found an old newspaper article. It described a lockdown inside Cellblock D. According to the report, 23 inmates were found dead. 3 officers were also killed. No survivors. The official cause was never released. Yet one detail stood out. Witnesses claimed they heard screaming coming from the cell block for hours before security entered. When officers finally opened the doors, every prisoner was dead. The article described the scene as one of the worst discoveries in Texas prison history. Something about the story didn't make sense. How could 23 inmates die without a clear explanation? And why were all records sealed? A few days later, I finally got an answer. Or at least part of one. An elderly maintenance worker named Rodriguez approached me during lunch. "You've been asking questions." I nodded. He sighed. Then he told me a story. Years before the incident, an inmate named Daniel Mercer had been transferred to Blackridge. Mercer was serving multiple life sentences for murder. Other prisoners feared him. Guards avoided him. People claimed strange things happened around him. Lights failed. Cameras malfunctioned. Inmates reported hearing whispers from empty cells. Nobody believed the stories. Until the night of the lockdown, Mercer was housed in cell 14 of D block. According to rumors, officers responding to disturbances found every inmate dead, except Mercer. His cell was empty. No body, no escape. He had simply vanished. Rodriguez leaned closer. They never found him. A chill ran down my spine. That night I couldn't stop thinking about cell 14. At 2:13 a.m., the motion sensor activated again. This time, I made a decision. I grabbed a flashlight. Then I headed underground. The hallway to D block felt colder than the rest of the prison. The air smelled stale. The steel gate stood before me, locked. But maintenance had left a key inside a nearby security box. I unlocked the gate. The metal door groaned open. Beyond it stretched a dark corridor. My flashlight illuminated rows of abandoned cells. Everything was covered in dust. The silence felt unnatural, like the place was waiting. I slowly walked forward. Each step echoed through the darkness. Then I heard it, a distant metallic clang, somewhere deeper inside. I froze. Another clang, closer. I called out, no response. The flashlight trembled in my hand. Eventually, I reached cell 14. The door stood slightly open. According to records, it should have been sealed decades ago. I pushed it wider. Inside, the walls were covered in scratches. Hundreds of them. Some were so deep they had cut into the concrete. At the center of the cell was a single message, written repeatedly across the wall. He is still here. Again, and again, and again. My pulse quickened. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, heavy. I turned around. The corridor was empty, but the footsteps continued, getting closer. Yet there was nobody there. The sound stopped directly outside the cell. Silence, then a whisper, barely audible. Leave. The voice came from inches behind my ear. I spun around. Nothing. My flashlight flickered. For a brief moment, I saw a figure standing at the end of the corridor. The same inmate from the cameras, watching me. Then darkness. The flashlight died completely. I ran. Every survival instinct screamed at me to get out. As I sprinted through the corridor, cell doors began slamming shut on their own. Boom, boom, boom. The sound echoed like gunshots. Something moved in the darkness beside me. Keeping pace, I could hear breathing. Not mine. Something else's. I reached the gate and threw myself through it. The moment I crossed the threshold, the noises stopped. Complete silence. I locked the gate behind me. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. The next day, I resigned. I never returned to Blackridge. Months later, curiosity got the better of me. I searched online for updates. What I found was disturbing. Blackridge Correctional Facility had permanently closed. Official reports cited structural issues, but former employees told a different story. Multiple guards had reported sightings in the underground corridor. Several security cameras recorded unexplained figures. One guard disappeared during a night shift. His body was never found. The prison was eventually abandoned. Today it still stands, empty, slowly decaying under the Texas sun. But locals avoid the area, especially at night. Some claim lights still appear in the underground section. Others report hearing metal doors slamming shut from deep inside the abandoned prison. And every now and then, a motion sensor near the entrance to Cellblock D activates at exactly 2:13 a.m., even though there is nobody left inside. At least nobody who should be there.